How you doing, everybody? Chris Ramirez back out here, that is, at Fort Pioneer, a beautiful Monday morning. And unfortunately, as you see and you hear, we're not here for the most festival of occasions, but we will try to turn this destruction of Fort Pioneer into a trip down memory lane. We're going to start with these four individuals here. I'm going to hand the phone over to Fred Behrens, the chief, and he's going to have a few of his friends join him and talk about what it was like to play on this field and to be a Clark Pioneer.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thank you guys for coming out and doing this for not only for us, but for the whole area. This is, like you said, it's a bittersweet day. This, the three of us all played for Nick Voris, and Chris will come on later. He played under Gary Ridgely's era, but there has never been, in my mind, an area that I can think of in this country, or I'm sure there are others, but we grew up together. Basically, our parents grew up together. They ate here. We grew up together. We walked to this school. We all worked with each other. We all still know each other very well. There's about 26 per team, wouldn't you guys say? Yeah, about 14 to 15 graduated every year. So some great guys here, and I'll let Tom introduce himself next. But, again, this area brought so much to my life and what's gone on here, as you're going to hear some of the stories.
Yeah, my name's Tom Geffert. I graduated in '74 from Clark. Basically grew up right down the street, about a block away on Lake Avenue, 121st Street. Born there, spent my entire life out this area here. And so, like I said, like Fred said, this is I used to play out here as a kid, and then played the football, played sports in high school out here. It's just a great place. It's sad to see this thing go. But that's enough about me for now. Let's give it over to
My name is Rich Osborne. I'm a 1976 grad of Hammond Clark. I agree with both of what these gentlemen said. It's growing up in Robertsdale was probably the best experience of my life. A lot of the kids that I went to high school with, I went to grade school with, so we kind of all grew up together, played together during the off season. Had a lot of good athletes here, a lot of great memories here on Clark Field. It's the first time I've been back on the field probably since 1977 or 78 when I came back to visit Coach Voris and to watch a game. Want to add, too, that my dad was a Hammond Clark graduate. Can't remember what year he graduated, but he was on one of the early conference championship teams, and it was just neat seeing the old picture of he and his team, my dad and his teammates on the wall, and then a couple feet down, we saw our picture from the conference championship in 1974. So I graduated in '76. My senior year was a '75 year, but I played with Fred on the '74 championship team.
I'm Chris Swentko. I'm here. Last time I was on this field, and like Fred was saying, it's bittersweet. And actually, Fred was one of my coaches, and he still tries to run my life. But I'm just kidding. But probably 1999, we had a 5-year anniversary of our conference championship, and I believe we were the last ones to win the conference, and then that was it. But that was '93. That was, and just seeing this place go down and to make houses, I'm kind of torn about it. But growing up in the area, like these gentlemen were saying, we had more stuff to do than we knew what to do with. We had 3 lakes, plenty. Friday nights we were here, and in the fall, and it's pretty emotional playing under Gary Ridgely and Fred and Malon and Steve Ridgely. It was they made my life the man I am today, put it that way, with their discipline and stuff that happened over the years. They made men out of you then, and I don't know, but I really thank them, all the coaches, and it's just too bad that this is going like it is. But
as we were saying, I think it's even your era compared to the three of us all played for Nick Voris. I think we all have stories, Nick Voris stories, but I have to agree with what Chris is saying. This field and being locked in here from 6 in the morning till 6 at night, told what we could bring to eat and drink, and
being yelled at constantly.
it changed our lives. I can't think of many people out of my class at 13, 14 that graduated from the football team that haven't been successful in what they've done afterwards. I don't know if that's the same for you guys, but
that is
everybody's been pretty much a success.
That makes a point of the coaching that we went through, even though it seemed brutal at times and unnecessary, but it made it built character, it built camaraderie. I think that's why one of the reasons that we all still stay together, we were part of that together. We went through that together. We sweated, bled out here together, and then that's what built a great bond between guys. And like I said, I think that's got to give credit to the coaching staff.
And just discipline in life. Discipline in life. All the others.
I think that's what we all gained from playing for Coach Voris, was the discipline that he instilled in everybody, and he was pretty much a perfectionist. I could still remember he had a phrase where he said "ground down," and I can still hear it in my sleep. It's when he wants to a coaching moment where somebody did something wrong, or he wanted to replay a down in practice. He would automatically just say "ground down," and everybody go back to the line of scrimmage, and whoever messed up would get chewed out, and then you run the play till you got it right, and then he would be happy. But he was a taskmaster. A lot of guys didn't like the way he coached. I did. He was very, very strict, disciplined. He held everybody accountable, and that's what I liked about him. And we didn't have the greatest season my senior year. We were 3-7, but the year before we were co-conference champs. We were 7-3, and that was probably one of the highlights of my athletic career here at Clark. I played football and baseball, and we had some pretty good baseball teams too. But that 74 season was just phenomenal for me.
I think we can lay a little history for you, Chris, if that's
Please
okay.
do, yes, I'm coming in to join you.
Okay, well, you can take.
No, you go ahead. You take the lead.
Tom's year, I was kind of surprised. If Voris would have had one more year with this group, they had some of the biggest linemen. Us sophomores and freshmen, I mean, it was brutal playing up against these guys. They had guys that were 250, 260, 270, benching all kinds of weight, and Nick tried to pull it together real quick, and it came close, Tom, at times. It came close.
It was close, and I think it was a transition thing.
Yeah.
And that's, if you had, you can't just come in one year, you change, you change offenses, you change a whole really atmosphere out here from Elmer Britton then to Voris. And that first initial year, it was a learning process, and we just were the guinea pigs.
Voris came in with Lou Holtz's defensive style. He made us all read a book, The Grass is Always Greener When It's Up, or I can't remember the exact title, but we philosophized on that defense, and it worked. Odds, I know you, the second year when you were on the team, we won it all. It worked. But I think if he would have had one more year with Tom and his group, we would have had 2 conference championships in a row. And in Ozzy's year, they were close again, right, Oz?
Yeah, we were 3-7. We just didn't. We kind of underachieved. We had a lot of good athletes. We had a lot of good camaraderie as a team, but we just didn't. We didn't perform well enough during the games to create that winning record that we had the year before. But nevertheless, it was a lot of fun. Our teammates were great. The seniors that I played with for my entire career, and all the underclassmen, they were just a great group of hardworking players.
Well, Fred, that's where I want to jump in real quick, if you don't mind. You guys were talking about the 74 season earlier, which was your junior year.
Right.
You guys went 7-3 that year, co-conference champs, as you mentioned. But the thing I found interesting was you talked about these bleachers over here. They'd be packed on Friday nights. Maybe the only season in history where you could say that, I don't know. But it was kind of a Hobart or Griffith type thing where people were buying their tickets on Monday and Tuesday of the week. Talk a little bit about that, can you?
I distinctly remember Ozzy's dad, my dad, Tom's parents, they were all involved in the Booster Club. They had to actually set up a table in the middle of the hallway at Clark High School. They started selling tickets on Monday, and this place was wall to wall. It was, and then people standing around both end zones, they put in extra bleachers. It was a community school. It was, everybody from this town came over here and joined in on what was going on. Voris brought that championship atmosphere back to Clark, and it spread to other things in the area. It really did.
We started out the year pretty rough too that season. We went to Evansville. Coach Voris used to coach in Evansville, and he took us back, my junior year and senior year. We took trips to Evansville to play. And the first year we played Evansville Harrison, they cleaned our clock. We just got annihilated. We were just outmanned. They had a lot of speed. Then the second game we lost a really close one, I believe, to Lafayette Central Catholic, and then we put on a string of wins, and We won the conference, and the only loss we had actually was against East Chicago Roosevelt. And it was we didn't play that well. We got beat pretty solidly, but we just had an off day. But it was progressively just a great year.
And I think again, Boris is. I'll have my one story, and I know you have you've already given the one.
Already told my story.
We went to Morton Neorama my senior year, and we got our clock cleaned there in Neorama. He came back here and flipped these lights on, and we thought we were all going home. Everybody was down and beat up. Assistant coach comes out and tells, I think Milan was coming off the bus first, said, get your shoes on, you're going to practice. We came out here for another 45 minutes of practice. It was about 10:30 at night. That same night, a car hit a power pole down out of Sheffield and Calumet, I believe it was. All of Robertsdale went black, and the headlines in the paper were, Boris practices them till the lights go out, and I'll never forget that either.
Well, I'd like to hear a little bit about the Gary Ridgely era as well. We've talked a lot about Nick Boris, one of the famous coaches in Clark history, but the Gary Ridgely, he continued that tradition very well.
I can't explain the goodness that came out of playing for him and Fred, and kept us out of trouble. People wanted to go party after the football games and stuff. They were all cops. We couldn't do it. You get caught. There was one guy he was on the news accidentally because there was a train derailment by his house, and he wore this purple Spanish rug looking. And he was on the 10 o'clock news. They were live out there, and it was after 10 o'clock, and he got his ass in trouble because we weren't supposed to be outside after 10 o'clock. And, stuff like that, discipline, the coaching. I don't understand how Gary or Fred or any of them didn't have a heart attack. You've seen steam coming out of there. But then, like you said, we'd mess up, ground down, bear crawls. My back still hurts from it. It just, what a time to grow up for me. In the 90s, that was great.
Fred,
like
you were on that staff. What are your memories of those days?
Well, as he's saying, Steve Ridgely and I were both policemen, and we stayed on the staff until we both got promoted. But we had probably 13 each senior year too, right, Chris?
Yes,
Some of that range.
Yep.
Well, we had 13 of the toughest kids, as we all did, that knew you better do it right. You better remember where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. And we were in shape. They were in shape. That's what I think gave Clark some of that pride back under Boris and Ridgely. Those two eras, 3 conference championships under Gary,
summer
should have been 2. It was just the neighborhoods felt it. You could walk through 119th Street. They were proud of us that we were on that team and that we were doing this for the area. It's something I'll never forget, as Tom said, and it's just. It just instilled in us and all of us. I can't think again of one of us that hasn't made it and done something.
You can't help but excel in life after going through that. Because you go through that stuff. It was so difficult and hard, and everything else seems kind of easy. And you have that mindset that hard work produces something.
Yes.
And that's the biggest thing you can have to be successful in no matter what field you go into. Just give your best all the time, and you'll be successful.
Well, let me ask you guys this, and being dedicated Clark graduates, proud Clark graduates, when the news first came out, and I know it had been going back and forth for years in the city of Hammond, that maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't, same with Geffert, what's going to happen, no one knew, but eventually, finally, the news came that Clark indeed was going to close. I'd like to get all your thoughts on that and what that meant to you and all of that.
I think, number one, it was shock. I still think this area can take care of a high school. I think they can still, there's enough students in this area. They're going to put housing in a few places in Whiting and Hammond now up here. I think another school could have made it up here. I thought Whiting would pick up a lot more from, I don't know how that all works, from Robertsdale, but, they should have some good talent coming there from the kids. Again, as they were saying, a lot of our friends, relatives, and stuff are still in the area, and there's still some good talent up here. I do think, though, that there is going to be a big void down to 2 high schools in Hammond. This was phenomenal playing for Clark, because you were known as the lakefront school. You'd come up here with 30 degrees difference than down there. A lot of pride in the Pioneer families. I mean, as Ozzie said, his dad, my dad, your parents,
Yes.
all went to Clark. And if you lived up here, more than likely your parents went to the same school and knew all about it. But I'll tell you, if Tom Fool messed up, by the time he got home, his parents knew it, the priests knew it, the nuns knew it, the storefront people knew it, right down the line. So this community took care of us, as Chris was saying. Yep. He got even luckier. He had 2 policemen on this staff.
And my dad was a policeman.
His dad was a policeman, so
couldn't do much.
We knew each other. I mean, you said if you needed sugar, you just walked into the neighbor's house and got it. There were no locks on the doors up here. There was nothing like that.
Yeah, it's sad to see something like that go down, and like Fred said, I think this community, would be able to support another school, another high school at least. And like I said, because you're right, the people here, it was a different feeling. Now these kids here that are living in Robertsdale, they're gonna have to go to one a central school over there. They're gonna run. They won't have that close knit to where you're going to school with your neighbor here, right. And you're on mornings you're walking to school together. You're not getting on a bus with 50 other kids, shooting shit on the bus, going to downtown Hammond. I see what they're trying to do, but I think that the town itself will lose out on that closeness, and then which I think is sad, because then you got there's no connection. And when you lose your connections between people, that's when stuff starts falling apart.
Very well said. Rich?
I agree with what Fred and Tom said. There's not much I could add to that, other than it was a really sad day when the news came out and I found out that Clark was closing. One of the benefits of growing up in this Robertsdale and North Hammond area is having a neighborhood high school. Most of the people that went to Clark with us either went to Franklin Grade School, St. John, or St. Kaz. It was just Robertsdale and North Hammond people actually back then. I think right around Douglas Park was pretty much the cutoff. So you just knew everybody from pretty much junior high school through high school, and to lose that is going to, I think it's going to affect the community in a negative way. Nothing against busing kids to a different high school, but I would have hated to have to get on a bus and travel 10 miles down the road, 15 miles down the road, when there was a perfectly suitable high school, down the block, within walking distance.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember after practice, you didn't have enough energy to walk home. You'd have to have somebody pick you up.
That's why I'm glad I only had to make a block.
Yeah, and back then parents weren't too keen on driving us around. You either rode your bike or you walked.
Yep.
Well, for me, I mean, what's going to happen to all the stuff inside the school, the memorabilia, the trophies, is that going to be all lost, or are we going to have a little something to at least remember the school by, or that probably hurt me the most. I didn't care about the school. I didn't like going to school, but I loved playing football. But what's going to happen to everything in the school? That, to me, there should be like some kind of museum or a small building so people can remember the place by. But just so many good memories out of there, and good people, and the fun that we had, and the screwing around that we were doing, and I was a D student. I really didn't care too much about academics, but as long as I had my credits, I didn't care. I was like, I'm out of here. But playing football was.
But you made it.
I made it. And
you never missed the practice, and you went to study hall in here every day when we had it.
And I'm pretty successful in life just because of this whole thing right here, and the school, and our coaching staff. You'll never get that again, ever. Like you're saying, going 5 miles down the road to go to school. We used to walk everywhere, limp home sometimes, most of the time. And the community feel. We're just walking home, like we were saying, from practice or after a game, and seeing the Clark signs in everybody's window, and then it seemed like every third house had a sign, and then that money helped with equipment and everything else like that. So it just. You'll never. I don't think you'll ever have that again, and that's something that. It
even went after the games, because I have to call Ralph. He was the quarterback. Ozzie was the backup on the championship team, and I got to get some memory pills. But what was the name of the place across from Arnie that we all went to?
Wowie's.
There'd be 400 right? Am I exaggerating?
Yeah.
300 to 400 kids, parents, neighbors hanging around Wowies after the games, and I mean till midnight before we all
I was
shagged
more
it.
Arnie's.
You went to Artie's? But I mean, even after the games, we were all there together. There was not much we didn't do as a group. Not much. Very cohesive group.
So here we are. We're out at Fort Pioneer. As you've been hearing these great stories, it's demolition day here at the former football field that housed the Pioneers for quite a long time, and we're happy to have these guests here with us. The field house is over here, and I'm told, guys, that we can get in there. When we don't need a key, we can go in and take a look before they demo it. So why don't we take a break from this segment, walk over there and take one last look before that comes down.
So a lot of bad memories in there too, probably. So
this is Region Sports on the road at Fort Pioneer. We're back after this timeout on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
From schools to stadiums, hospitals and bridges, everywhere you look, union carpenters are building Indiana. With jobs and skilled trades in high demand, there's never been a better time to start building your future. As an apprentice, you'll earn a debt-free college degree, earn while you learn, and receive great benefits like healthcare and retirement. So what are you waiting for? Visit carpenters.com to learn more. Visit carpenters.com and start building your future today.
Welcome back, everybody, as Region Sports hits the road today. Once again, Fort Pioneer is the location up here in Robertsdale, the home of the Clark football team for as long as anybody can remember. This version of the stadium built in 1974, and it's now coming down, and this will be developed into who knows what. We're hearing all kinds of things, potentially housing or whatever, but it won't be a football field anymore. The football field, the field house, even the fire department I hear is moving. So, and we are here with an 84 Clark graduate wearing a hard hat because he's in charge of the demolition here. It's Jeff McKernan. And Jeff, this is your company, which is called?
JM Wrecking out of, used to be Hammond, Indiana. Now we're a little farther south, but yeah.
But aren't we all nowadays for the most part, right?
Yes.
Yep. So, Jeff, you're an 84 grad, a lot of memories of Clark High School, as we talked about here. I've been talking with a number of Clark guys, a lot of pride of people that went to high school here at Clark. Not something you necessarily see with everybody at every school, but it seems to be the overwhelming feeling, you know, that if you went to Clark, you're proud of that fact. Now, you're here, and to some, this is a very, you know, we're here to kind of celebrate, I guess I should say, the history of Clark and Fort Pioneer. A lot of people are looking at this, though, as a bit of a funeral, the end of an era, that sort of thing. Being you're a Clark grad and also someone in charge of the demolition of this, what are your feelings, kind of? Well, I guess, first of all, how'd you go about getting the job? How'd you win the bid?
It was a bid job through the city of Hammond, and I just knew I had to get it. And so we bid accordingly, and to make sure we did get it. My operator's also 84 graduate, John Bunger. So it was
more about getting the job and doing it and being a part of it rather than have somebody else do it. It wasn't so much about the profit or the making the money off the job. But being a Clark graduate, you couldn't stand to see somebody else do what you should be doing. So is it bittersweet at all? What are your feelings here?
Yeah, it is bittersweet. You know, 4 years of your life spent here, and a lot of good times, a lot of memories. I mean, you can't get that back.
And how do you go about, so well, you tell us if you can, you've got a machine over here that we see knocking down the bleachers. What's that machine called? You see the back of it there.
Yeah, we actually have two Cat 9 or 330 C's excavators, one with a shear, one with a grapple. We'll just keep mowing through it. We're going to save some memorabilia, and that's it. In a day or so, it'll be history.
It'll all be gone then.
Yeah.
So somebody drives up. We're here out on Monday. Somebody drives here later in the week, Thursday, Friday.
Right.
It won't look the same then.
No. alumni wants a piece of something, come out sooner the better, and we'll be happy to help you out.
Yeah, you mentioned memorabilia. Being a
Yes.
Clark graduate, that
Yes.
stuff would have a little more meaning to
Right.
a Clark graduate than just the average guy tearing down the facility. He's even got a couple of, he's got a screwdriver and a wrench in his
Right.
hand. We went through the field house
Yeah,
there.
we took down a few signs. So like I said, I'd rather, if somebody wants something, it's better to take it now, otherwise it gets scrapped.
Yeah, we got to take a walk through there. No electricity, quite dark, but a lot of stuff in there.
There is.
And so if you're looking for a jersey, for some memorabilia or something, you got maybe, 24 hours or so before that starts coming down? Would that be
Yeah,
this week, or
a few days.
a few days in the building? Okay.
There's some lockers, a lot of stuff. So
There is a lot of stuff indeed. So have you any idea, Jeff, once you guys are done here, what's going to follow you?
I do not. I do not. Like I said, once we're out of here, I don't know what's coming here.
So that press box there, we watch as the bleachers come down, the big Cat 9 knocks them down. Will that be the same? Will it just crash into the press box and bring it tumbling down, or how does that work?
Yes. So
What
it'd
a
be a
sight
good
to
photo
see.
op.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure would be. So how many swipes of the Cat 9 do you think before that thing comes tumbling down?
Just a couple.
Couple?
Yeah.
Will the bleachers be there? Will it go forward? Will it go backward? How will that come down?
Yeah, we'll pull everything down around it and then
Okay.
push it
And
over.
let it fall.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope we're here for that. So, all right, Jeff. Well, we appreciate your
Well,
time.
thank
Jeff
you.
McKernan, everybody.
Thank you.
He's in charge of the demolition here. He's an '84 Clark graduate. So it's not just somebody who's wrecking it and getting rid of it. He's putting his heart into the job. And as he said, there's some memorabilia here. If somebody wants to come take a last look or a photo op or get some video, you got a couple of days left to do it, but not much time. So again, if you're an alma mater, if this is your alma mater here, or if you played here, even if you didn't play, or if you ever came here,
Right.
and remember watching a game here, you're more than welcome to come down and get one last look. So, Jeff, thank you very much for
Thank
joining
you.
us here.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with the rest of the job.
All right.
All right, I'm Chris Ramirez. We're back with more as Region Sports hits the road today from Fort Pioneer in Robertsdale on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Region Sports Network, the only game in town.